We'll call to order the September 17th meeting of the District 99 Board of Education. We went in closed session at 7 p.m., took the roll. We have a quorum. So now we can move to item 2. We stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 4 on the agenda is the approval of minutes. We have August 20th, business and closed meeting, August 29th, special meeting and closed meeting, and September 10th, special meeting. Any comments or corrections to the minutes before the chair invites a motion?
No.
Chair invites a motion, approve the minutes.
So moved.
Member Pavicic moves.
Second.
Member Beckman seconds. Call the vote, please.
Terry Pavicic.
Aye.
Julia Beckman.
Aye.
Deb Boyle.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka. Aye. Keith Mattoon.
Aye.
Bill White.
Aye, the motion carries and the minutes are approved. Item 5 on the agenda is the reception of visitors. Is there anybody that wishes to address the board on any matter pertaining to items on our agenda for this evening? Going once, going twice. Okay, we'll move on from that item. We'll go to item 6, recommendations and reports of the superintendent. Dr. McDonald?
Thank you, Mr. White. The first report is brief. That is to report to the Board of Education. The administration has prepared the administrative compensation report for the 12-13 school year. The report will go on the website tomorrow as required by the school code. I'd also like to report on item B, Administrator Teacher Salary and Benefit Report. This is a new report. We have not previously had to submit this report, and based on the requirements of this report is actually the salaries and benefits by District 99 administrators and teachers for the 2011-12 school year, and unfortunately I have to reconcile the fact that those are different numbers for some of the people listed on both reports. In terms of the Freedom of Information requests, District 99 received 3 Freedom of Information requests in the period since the previous board meeting. 2 of those requests were fulfilled. A third was not fulfilled because the district does not keep those records. And that would be my 3 reports.
Any questions of the superintendent regarding these various reports? Okay, with that, we'll move on to item number 7, the consent agenda. The chair invites a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Member Pavicic moves.
I'll second.
Member Davenport seconds. Call the vote, please.
Terry Pavicic.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka. Aye. Keith Mattoon.
Aye.
Julia Beckman.
Aye.
Deb Boyle.
Aye.
Bill White.
Aye, that motion passes. The consent agenda items are approved. Item 8 on the agenda, recommendations for action. 8A is approval of 2012-2013 district goals. We talked about this last week. Dr. McDonald, forward.
You're correct, Mr. White. The board discussed the administration's recommendations for the district goals for 2012-13 extensively at the board workshop on September 10th. There were several minor changes recommended by the board. Those were incorporated primarily in Area 2 facilities, and primarily those were about defining a revenue stream for projects and considering alternative revenue streams in the future. And I believe my goal is to incorporate those into that section. Having not heard any concerns from last week, I'm presuming that the board was okay with those alterations, but of course we have time tonight to change anything we need to as well.
What I'd like to do is first of all see if anybody has informational questions for the administration. If not, we can have a motion and then discussion on the motion. Anybody feel they need more information before they're ready to make a motion? With that, the chair will invite a motion to approve the 2012-2013 district goals as presented this evening.
So moved.
Member Pavicic moves.
I'll second that.
Member Beckman seconds. Is there any discussion?
Once again, I think it's a really ambitious set of goals, but you've accomplished a lot within these goals already, and I anticipate that it will make good progress for the next coming year.
With that, I will comment for the record, I think this method of setting goals is absolutely outstanding.
Yes.
This method of doing it is absolutely outstanding. It helps clarify and articulate what the district is doing in a very comprehensive, much easier to understand fashion than the way we've done it before. Anybody else want to add anything before I call the vote? Okay, call the vote.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Julia Beckman.
Aye.
Deb Boyle.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka.
Aye.
Keith Mattoon.
Aye.
Bill White.
Aye, that motion carries, and the 2012-2013 district goals have been approved. 8B, award of bid for master site plan landscape. Dr. McDonald, I believe that's going to be...
Actually, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Schock.
Yes.
These are landscaping projects that are putting the final, or most of the final touches on the master site plan at North and South High School. Mr. Schock?
This is bid group 4 of Tier 1, Phase 2 master site plan work at North and South High School. It's the final bid recommendation we'll make under Tier 1 work, and it will complete the project this fall. Now, we've got a field at South High School that won't be turned over to for use until next spring, but this would complete the construction work. You'll recall that at one point in time, the village asked us to expand the landscaping work at North High School to screen some of the residential properties that were so across the street from some of the new construction. And so we expanded the budget to deal with that. We've got a planning schedule and a landscape layout that many of our neighbors at North High School worked with us on. And it includes the infamous fence situation, which we talked about in the past, and we'll deal with that with the village in a week or two. But we're real pleased with the numbers that came in. We thought we'd be about $200,000 for North High School, and we're at $206,000 for both campuses and the AFC parking lot, which also requires some landscaping by village ordinance. The high bid, we know that contractor did not go to a nursery and get prices. He took them out of the books, and that's why he came in high. We got real good numbers on the plants. And it's our hope that all of this work can be done yet this fall. If anything doesn't get done, it'll be the seeding portion of it, the grass seeding. If it gets too late in the year and it doesn't grow, we'll keep all the parkways fenced off, and we'll do it in the springtime. So that's weather controlling us, but all the plantings and the trees should go in without any problem.
Very nice.
Any informational questions before the chair asks for a motion?
I'd just like to inquire, the citizens that live in the neighborhood there, have they seen the plans, and do they sign off on the final plans? Are they have
Well,
been adjusted? Or?
they didn't sign off on it, but they each I think there were about 8 or 9 or 10 neighbors that joined us on 3 or 4 occasions to work through the plans with our landscape architect. And other than the fact that our landscape architect gave the list of products, materials that we could use, and it was approved by the village, the neighbors really had most of the input, provided most of the input for the screening materials. They picked out plantings, trees, and whatnot. In fact, the fence issue is really coming out of the neighbors asking for a bit more of a fence so that we can do some more screening off the parking lot.
I probably should have said met their approval instead of signed off on it, but met their approval, because,
It does, it did, yes.
thank you.
Okay, with that, the chair would invite a motion to approve the master site plan landscape bid.
So moved.
Member Davenport moves.
Second?
Member Kupka seconds. Call the vote, please.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka.
Aye.
Keith Mattoon.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Julia Beckman.
Aye.
Deb Boyle.
Aye.
Bill White.
Aye, that motion carries. The award of bid's been approved. Item 8C, award of bids, Wi-Fi auditorium sound system. Mr. Schock again on that?
Mr. Schock again.
This project is a duplicate of one we performed at North High School 2 summers ago. In fact, we're recommending the low bidder, who is the same contractor that helped us at North High School. More or less the same equipment, same design, and we're real pleased to have this quality of a system. It'll be fine-tuned, specific for the auditorium at South High School, and it's replacing, for the most part, a system that was installed in 1963. Has had a couple of updates, but for those of you that have been in the auditorium in the last couple of years, you'll know how poor the sound system is. One of the things that we work around with lighting systems and sound systems in auditoriums is these are operated by kids. And so while they're a technical marvel, let's say, they can't be too complex or the kids can't use them. And so while this is a high-end, high-quality system, it's adaptable for the kids to use.
Okay, any questions before we invite a motion?
Just a quick question I should have called earlier, Marty. Does this compare with the cost of installing it at North as well? Or do you recall?
Well, the project at North was $70,000, but it was,
It wasn't as,
we did a lot of the internal work and some of the components at South, we didn't need to buy at North High School.
got it.
I believe this is a real good price.
Good.
We had a lot of competition, and for some reason, most of them pulled out at the last moment for bidding purposes, but you saw the high bid at almost $30,000 spread. But this was an easy one for us because we've got the system in place at North, and we've been able to compare it, so I think it's a reasonable price, yes.
When
And
you say
is-
it's within the budget estimate?
It's
too.
under budget, yes.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, the chair invite a motion to approve the bid for the sound system.
So moved.
Member Beckman moves.
Second.
Member Pavich seconds. Any discussion? Call the vote, please.
Julia Beckman.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Deb Boyle.
Aye.
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Nancy Kupka. Aye. Keith Mattoon.
Aye.
Bill White.
Aye, that motion carries. That bid's been approved. I see no business, there is no old business under item 9. We move to item 10, Policy Committee Report, first reading. I think a large number of these are simply a matter of nomenclature, and there are others that might be more substantive. Ms. Kupka, do you want to talk to us about these?
Most of these are based on the changes recommended by IASB. We have made, some of these are, and I wish I didn't think to bring my list, I apologize. Some of these, we are recommending deletion because they're being subsumed under other policies. I think the most substantive change that we have made has to do with the district areas. I'm looking for this. Attendance area, 7.30. And we've actually recommended that we tighten that up a bit. Previous to this, if a student's family moved during their tenure at one of the schools, they were allowed to stay within the school until they graduated, and any other sibling coming in during that time was able to go through and stay as well and graduate as well. We're actually recommending changing that to allow that for a junior or senior who's graduating, but it would not impact the younger siblings. Is that a fair?
Each student is evaluated on their own merits, basically,
Right.
rather than a family-by-family basis. As always, first readings are first readings, and there will be another policy committee meeting prior to a second reading and a vote. There's a large number of them. The other question is, the other large substantive one is the student to discipline policy, too. So we have so many of them, but many of them are, but a large number are really quite routine. Does anybody have any comments about any particular policy they'd like to bring up?
I do. One, 7.30, attendance area.
Well, we're just talking about
Okay, that'll be on the floor. Yeah, okay,
Can we do that or no?
absolutely.
The change under transfers within the district, and we're crossing off the word highly, where you read, superintendent is authorized to grant on a limited and non-precedential basis individual requests for transfer when there exists, and we're crossing off the word highly and then saying unusual and exceptional circumstances. And I'd like to suggest that we might cross off unusual and exceptional too. I don't know that provides a lot of direction. And quite honestly, I'm comfortable with the superintendent being able to use his discretion without encumbering him with that language.
But you leave the language about the superintendent shall create guidelines and policies for
Yes,
applying.
absolutely.
So you're just asking to take out highly unusual and exceptional, basically.
Right. If nothing else, I guess, and I know that this has been a hot button thing in the past, so I don't want to dig into it too much, but just that I trust the superintendent's discretion on this, and I think that we want to have an attitude of being accommodating when we can and when it's appropriate. So that's all.
Is there any sort of an IASB recommendation for something like this, or was this was our own language, is that correct?
I believe this is our own language, yes.
Is there any guidance from IASB? I think that's a good question.
I don't believe so.
There isn't. It's just always,
By district, right?
There's guidance from IASB,
whatever.
There's guidance from IASB and law with
Yeah.
regard to residents and the ability to enroll in a public school system, or which speaks to that. And primarily, the intent is that a student attends school in the school district his parents live in. There's also board policy, also mirrored by law, that specifies that the Board of Education determines attendance boundaries for its schools for the purpose of efficiency. But I don't believe there is a specific policy or set of policy about this. I think this is a District 99 policy.
Well, this is just a first reading,
Right.
and this was totally my suggestion that we might
Think about it.
consider. So that's
Any
all.
other comments or questions about this? Seems the question boils down to under what circumstances exceptions can be made.
Right.
Right.
Well, and what constitutes unusual and exceptional? I mean, so I don't think we want to get into trying to define all those things. I
Right.
think we were already, you're crossing off the word highly, and to me, that you just might as well complete that. And that's, so I don't know that we're really changing the policy so much, but taking out ambiguity. That's all.
Good to think about.
Another policy committee meeting and talk about alternate language.
Okay.
Anybody else want to add about this now before we move on? Any other policies that we wish to discuss this evening? I don't think it's worth going through them, all of them, one by one, just if anything jumped out at anybody.
I read through them all, and
Me too,
I
yeah.
very much appreciate the hard work by our policy committee in doing this.
I was impressed that the communicable diseases one
Yeah.
is now reduced to a paragraph.
Spread disease.
Right.
Yeah, basically, let's keep
words.
the diseases out of the building. That's right.
Okay, and now, as always, you can contact myself or Ms. Kupka or Dr. McDonald with your suggestions regarding language on any of these. And we'll take that into account. We'll have another policy committee meeting, and these will come back before us at some future meeting. Okay, that finishes new business. We have our second reception of visitors. Does anybody want to talk to us about anything related to District 99? Please, sir, come to the microphone, state your name and address.
Good evening. My name's Jim Wool, and I live at 224th Street in Downers Grove. To help commemorate Constitution Week, Downers Grove North invited in a guest speaker, Jessica Elquist, to speak to the students enrolled in the social studies classes at North. You would assume about the Constitution. That assumption would be wrong. Jessica is a 17-year-old student who brought a lawsuit against her high school in Rhode Island. Jessica is a self-described atheist. Jessica was upset about a prayer that was written by a 7th grader 49 years ago. The prayer then was printed on a banner and has been on display at her high school for 49 years. When the group who sponsors Jessica, the Citizen Advocacy Center, when contacted by the Illinois Family Institute, admitted, and I quote, "She won't be able to speak articulately on the First Amendment issues. Instead, she would be talking about advocating for an issue about which she cares deeply, atheism and bullying." So, District 99 invited in a 17-year-old student and reportedly paid her $400, not to discuss the First Amendment, but about being bullied. As I stated before, the group that sponsored Jessica even admitted that she would not be able to articulate on First Amendment issues. Then why, during Constitutional Week, would we pay a student $400 to speak, not on the Constitution, but about atheism and bullying? Jessica was also to speak at Wabansie Valley High School and York High School. Both high schools sent home permission slip forms. Downers Grove North did not send home permission slip forms. So as a parent, I was not informed that my children would be taken out of their history classes to hear this girl speak. At the very least, a permission slip form should have been sent home informing parents about the views of the guest speaker. Also, the permission slip form should have informed parents that only one point of view would be presented. The permission slip should also have informed the parents that the guest speaker was not an expert on constitutional law and would not be able to articulate on the First Amendment. Why was only her story presented? Why not offer opposing point of view? Why not invite someone in who's an expert on the issue with an opposing point of view? Someone perhaps from the Thomas More Law Society. After all, if we want students to learn and understand the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, and if we really want students to think critically, both sides of an issue should be presented. As parents, my wife and I are disappointed with the lack of communication by the school about the presentation and about the guest speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the board this evening? Okay. That finishes reception of visitors. Item 12 is communications and announcements. Do we have a LEND report?
First meeting will be next Friday.
Okay. SACID report?
We did tour the transition facility for SACID a couple of weeks ago because just as our program is burgeoning, so is theirs. So SACID's been running a facility over in Westmont in the industrial park for a few years, and they really have had to reconfigure. They're doing some pretty creative things to fit twice as many students in as they've had before. And it was very interesting, and they hope to, they're trying to do it with students in the building, which is always challenging. But I think they're going to get the job done. It will be a really, it will be a good facility for them, but still going to be tight, so understandably. And of course, we are meeting next week, so I'll have more to report after that.
Okay, thank you. Foundation report?
Yes, in less than 2 weeks, we will have our first event. Tickets are on sale, $25 a piece, to go to our after party at the Moose. And I don't know, Jill, maybe you can tell us how many tickets have we sold? Do you know, or?
We still have many available, so.
So there.
Tactful way to put it.
Yeah. So please get your tickets now. They're going fast, I'm sure. And we will have a tent at the North-South game. So
We could get tickets there.
yes, oh yes, and the night of the party, if there are any left.
We don't want to take that chance.
So please.
Okay, any other communications and announcements? Yes. With that, our upcoming board meetings, we'll have a special workshop meeting at 7 p.m. on October 1st, and then our October regular business meeting will be on October 15th at 7:30 p.m. Any other business before I invite a motion to adjourn? Chair invites a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Let's see, we'll give that.
Go.
Member Mattoon moves, Member Pavich second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Meeting adjourned.